Hi everyone, in this video we are going to be building a simple Flutter app where we are going to be adding phone authentication using Firebase. First we'll be creating a simple login page. There we will be adding the authentication logic where we are going to add the logic for sending a OTP to phone number and then verifying a OTP, and with the help of that we'll be completing our app, and at the end we will be also testing our app in a real device. So let's begin. First we need to visit Firebase console, and from here we can create a new project. Let us create a new project. Let us give the name as phone auth. Click on continue. We don't need Google Analytics, so we can disable it. Click on create project. Till that time it is creating our project, we can create a new Flutter app. Use Flutter create command and type the name of the app. In this case it will be phone auth Firebase tutorial. Now our project has been created. Click on continue, and here we need to add our application. Click on Flutter. If you don't have Firebase CLI installed, then you need to install the Firebase CLI first. You can do it easily using Node.js. Just run the global Firebase tools command and it will install it. And you should have Flutter SDK to create Flutter apps. Now, Flutter create command, we have already built our Flutter app. Now click on next. Now we need to also activate our Flutter CLI. So for that, we can go to the directory of our app and run this command first. It will activate Flutter CLI, and then we need to configure our project. Paste the code. For now, let us build it for Android only. Now open the app inside your VS Code. You can use code space dot and it will open directly inside your VS Code. Now we need to go to our lib folder. Here you will find that Firebase options.dart file has already been created. When we configure our Firebase project, it already added this file. Now we need to go to the next step. Here we need to initialize our Firebase app. So simply copy this code and come inside our main.dart file. Here in our main function, first we need to initialize all the widgets. So for that, use widget flutter binding dot ensure initialized. It will initialize all the widgets. And now we can run this. Since it is using await, we need to make it async. And now Firebase is not inside our application, so we need to add the dependencies. Just open the terminal inside VS Code and use Flutter pub add to add the dependencies. First dependency that we need is Firebase core, and second dependency that we need is Firebase auth. Just add these two dependencies. Just verify the dependencies inside your pubsec.yaml file. Now both the dependencies are added. we need to import Firebase from Firebase code.dart, and default Firebase options was inside our Firebase options. So just import it. Now the next step that we need to do is to visit our Android folder, and inside app, visit build.gradle. Here we need to change our minimum SDK version to 19, otherwise it will not work. And next, just now we are ready to run our app. Run our app and test if our app is working successfully, then it means that we have initialized Firebase successfully. Our app is running. It means that we have configured Firebase correctly inside our app. Now let us build a simple login page UI first. First, here I will create a new folder. I will name it as pages, and here I will create a new file. It will be login page.dart. Now I will use a stateful widget, and firstly I will remove this demo homepage code, and for now our homepage, let it be our login page. Currently we don't have anything. Now let's build a UI. First we'll have a scaffold, and inside the body of our scaffold we'll have a column, and we'll have children's. Let us add an image to make our UI more better. So for that we'll be creating an image folder first. Now I've added this login PNG that we are going to use this in our login page. Since we are using asset images, first we need to add the assets inside our pubsec YAML file. So just write the name of the folder and it will run pubget. First we'll use image.asset and the name of our file, and the folder where our file is there, images, and the name of our file was login png. Now you can see that our png has appeared. Now after that we'll keep a size box of height 10 to add some spacing, and after that let us add a text: hi, welcome back. Let's add some styling. Increase the font size to somewhat 32 and font weight to W700. Then we can add a text: enter your phone number. So continue. Now let us add another size box of height 20 for more spacing, and here we'll add a text form field. We need to also add some decoration. So for that we'll be using input decoration. Here we'll pass a border as outline border. Border radius, let it be border radius dot circular 32. Now it has got some circular radius. Here we'll be adding a prefix text. Let it be plus 91. Now Here we are getting bottom overflow. To fix it, we can wrap this column with single child scroll view. It will remove our error, and our label text will be enter your phone number. And after that, we'll add some more spacing. For that, we'll add size box of height 20. And now we'll give an elevated button. For on press, we are not passing anything for now. The child will be a text. It will be sent OTP. Now we also need to add some styling. It will be elevated button dot style form. Background color, let it be colors dot yellow. And foreground color, let it be colors dot black. Now let us add it inside a size box of width double dot infinity. Increase the height to 50. Now here, what we can do, we can wrap this column with a container and provide the height as media query dot of context dot size dot height. What it will does, the container will consume the full height of the device, and the container is having a column. Now we can make this image, wrap it with an widget of expanded. Now you'll find that it is taking the whole area as much as possible. We can change the fit of image to box fit dot cover. Inside our column, since the center things are not looking that great, we can give a cross-axis alignment as cross-axis alignment dot start. Now all the items are in start. We can reduce the size box here, or we don't need a size box. Now it is still not looking that great. We can add some padding. So for that, we need to add padding to this text form field and the button. For that, let us swap this with a column and move all this inside that column. Now here also we need to add cross-axis alignment to cross-axis alignment dot start, and here we can add a padding by our choice. Let it be as 10 or 12. So now our login page is ready. Now let us add the logical code that will help us to communicate with Firebase. So here I am creating a folder naming controllers. Here I will create a file name auth service dot dart. Here I will create a class, name it as auth service. First here I will declare a final static variable. It will be a return type of Firebase auth. Let's name it as Firebase auth, and we need Firebase auth dot instance. Now here we need to write the function to send an OTP to user. It will be a static function and it will be a future send OTP. Let's make it as async. Here we'll use Firebase auth dot verify phone number. Now if we use this, it accepts a function when verification is complete. So for this, what we can do, we can return nothing for now. And if our verification is failed, we can also do nothing. And code auto retrieval timeout. We don't need this for now. Here we need the code sent. Here we'll be getting the verification ID and force resend token. And now we need to store our verification ID. For that, we can create a static variable here. It will be a return type of string. And here we can store the verification ID like this. And this will be the function when we have completed sending the code. Make all this function as async because it will take some time to execute. And here, if anything error happens, we can accept some error functions like required error step, function error step, function error step, and then we can perform our error step. And we can also add some next step function that will happen after our code is sent. So here we can call the next step. Now here we need to also add a timeout. For timeout, let it be seconds 30. And we need to pass the phone number plus 91. So here we need to also accept the string of int phone, and here it will be our phone. Now this is the way how we send a verification OTP to a phone number. We are not doing anything inside verification failed or verification complete. If anything error happens, we are directly handling this inside this step. So we are skipping all these steps. Now let us write a function that will verify the OTP code and login. It will be a static future function, login with OTP. Here we need to accept required string OTP, make it async, and here we'll create a new variable. It will be phone auth provider. dot credential. Here we need the verification ID. Since we have using this as a variable outside the function, we can access this. And now the SMS code, it will be OTP that we are receiving. Now here we can try catch. So user will be await Firebase auth dot sign in with credential, and our credential was cred that we have created. So if user dot user is not equal to null, it means the user is signed in. We can return success. We'll be using this success string, and if we get any error, we can directly return error and OTP login. And here, if we get any exception, Firebase auth exception, we can catch it and return e.message.toString. For that reason, we are returning string as string value, because we can get the message directly. And after that, if something else except Firebase exception happens, then we'll be directly returning e.toString. Now we have written two functions that will first send the OTP to the user and verify the OTP code and login. Now we need to add some more function to log out the user. Here it will be static future logout. It will also be async. Here we don't need anything. Just use Firebase auth dot sign out. When we call this function, it will sign out the user, and we can also check whether the user is logged in or not. For that, we need to create another function. It will be static future. Let it be a return type of bool is logged in. Make it async. Our user will be underscore Firebase auth dot current user, and if user is not equal to null. If we have an user, then it will return true, and if we don't have a user, then it will return false. If we don't have a user, it will be null, so it will return false. Now inside our login page, now we have not added any text editing controllers. So first let's add a text editing controller. It will be our phone controller. The text editing controller, and another one will be our OTP controller. We can also add some validation. Let us add a form key. It will be a type of global key, and return type will be of form state. Add another key. Let's name it as form key 1. This one will be using for our OTP. Now here inside our text form field, we need to pass the controller. It will be our phone controller. and we can wrap it with a form. Here we'll pass the key as form key. Since we have added some key, now we can also add a validation. So use the validator property. So for now, most of the phone numbers are of 10 digit. We can check if value dot length is not is equal to 10. It means it is either greater than 10 or not equal to 10. Then in that case, we can return invalid phone number, and else we need to return null. Now our validation is also done. Let's just test the validation. If underscore form key dot current state dot validate. Now let's try to validate. Now here we are getting the errors invalid phone number. The color of the border is coming purple. We can change it. Instead of our color in our color scheme, we can use colors.yellow. Now it has changed. Now let us call our auth service dot send OTP. Here we need to add our phone number. Phone number was inside phone controller dot text. And here we are using int, we can make it a string. And we need to pass a function error step. Inside our error step, we can simply show a snack bar, use scaffold messenger dot off context dot show snack bar, and we'll pass the snack bar. Our content will be error when sending OTP. We need to make this in text. Now we can also change the background color to colors.red. And the text color to colors.white. Now, if we face any error, then we'll be showing this error step. And here we need to pass the next step. What we want, if we are able to send the OTP, then it should show a dialog box. So for that, we'll use show dialog. Here we need to pass, here inside our builder, we'll be showing an alert dialog. It will have a title of text OTP verification. And inside content, we'll be having a column where we'll have children's. First text will be enter 6-digit OTP. Let's add some spacing. For that, we need to add size box. Let it be of height 12. Now here we need to add our OTP text field. So for that, let us use text form field. This text form field will be similar to this. So we can copy it like this. Our form key will be different. For this, we'll be using form key 1, and our controller will be OTP controller. Here we don't need a prefix text. And if our value is not is equal to 6, we'll be returning invalid OTP. So for now, let us go to our console, and here we need to go inside build authentication. Here we need to choose get started, and now click on the native provider phone. Here we need to enable it, and we can also add some text phone numbers for now. Let us add a text phone number and also a test OTP, and save it. Now our phone provider is now enabled. Here we are having our normal keyboard. Here we need to have our number keyboard. For that, just use keyboard type to key text input type dot phone. So now it is a type of phone number. Now the keyboard type has changed. Here also inside our OTP, we need to change our keyboard type to text input type dot number. Now let us type the number here. This is the test number that we have created. Now when we are clicking on send OTP, so our OTP got sent, and here we are getting a verification code. So for that, this dialog box is too big. We need to change the column. Here just change the main axis size to main axis size dot minimum. It will reduce the size, and after that we need to change cross axis alignment to cross axis alignment dot start. And here we need to also add some buttons after our text form field. Here we can use actions. After column we can use actions. Here we'll have a text button. Text will be submit. Now you see it's showing the OTP screen. Here we need to enter the OTP. So for now, submit button will have no action. We need to first we need to add the verification. For that, we'll use form key dot current state dot validate. Just add a null check here. Now it will also validate the OTP. Now see, it's showing as invalid OTP. Now we can call auth service dot login with OTP. Here we need to provide the OTP. In our case, our OTP will be inside the OTP controller dot text. If you remember, inside our login with OTP, we are returning success or error, or the error exceptions or messages. We can use then. After this step is performed, then what we are going to do, if the value that is coming is success, since we are returning success here, so if our value is success, it means that we have logged in successfully. The OTP was correct. In that case, we'll first close the dialog box. We'll use navigator.pop. It will close the dialog box, and then we'll be using navigator.push. And here we need to push it. Here we need to push the user to the home page. For now, we have not yet designed a home page. Let us create a new file. It will be home page dot dart. For now, let's just create a simple stateless widget. Here we don't need to do so much changes. For that reason, we are using stateless widget. Now, here in navigator push, we can pass our material page route, our context, and it will be home page. Now, if everything is right, we are going to navigate the user to the home page. Else, we are returning some other values like error in OTP login or the exceptions or the errors. In that case, we can show a snack bar. We'll be simply copying the snack bar and paste it here. Here will not show error in OTP. Here will show the value that we are receiving. Now, just suppose if we send an OTP and then we add some wrong OTP, we'll get this error message, and we also need to close the dialog box. So for that, we'll use navigator.pop context. Now let's try it again. So just try it again. Let's try to give some wrong OTP. It's showing as verification code is invalid. Check for correct verification code. Now let's try to enter the correct verification code. So now we are logged in and this is our home page. Let's just add a simple scaffold. We can add an app bar of title text homepage. Remove this const. Now just remove the automatic leading. Change it to false. It will not show the leading. And here we are using navigator.push. It will be push replacement because we don't want the user to go back to the login screen again. And now let's just have a center and child will be a column. Here first will inside our children's will have a text. Great, you are now logged in. And here we'll show a sized box of height, let it be 20, to add some spacing. And after that, we'll add one outline button. We are not doing some, we are not giving any decoration for now. Let it just be as logout. Just use main axis alignment to main axis alignment dot center. Now, if we press this logout, we need to call the auth service dot logout. And then we can push the user to the login page again. You will use push replacement because we don't want the user to get back to the home page again. It will be simple. You will be using material page route, passing the context, and it will be our login page. So now if we try to log out, we are now redirected to the login page. Now, what we can do, we have written a function is logged in. It will check if user exists or not. We can use this. First, we can create another stateful widget. It will be check user logged in or not. Here inside our init state, we can call auth service dot is logged in and it will either return true or false. So we need to check if it's value, it means it is true. Then we'll use navigator dot push replacement to material page route context to our home page directly, and otherwise we'll be redirecting the user to the login page. So it will be login page. And our home screen will be our check user screen. Check user is logged in or not. Now let us create one more test number. Now let us use this in login. Now we are logged in. If we restart the app, you will find that we are now getting redirected to the home page directly. But here it was showing a placeholder. What we can do, instead of a placeholder, let us just use scaffold and body center child circular progress indicator. Now till the time it load, it just showed a circular progress indicator. Now that is more better than a placeholder. We skipped a very important step, that we need to add our SHA1 key. Otherwise, phone authentication will not work in real devices. So let's do that. Now we need to open our new command prompt. Here we need to navigate to our Android folder where Android Studio has been stored. It is .android folder. And here you need to paste the key to list command, and it will show the SHA1 and SHA256 key. Here we need to enter the password. For now, if you have not done any changes, the default password will be Android. And here we have our SHA1 and SHA256 key. Just copy the SHA1 key, and inside project overview, go to settings, project settings. Here we need to add our SHA1 fingerprint and save it. Now our fingerprint has been added. Now we are ready to test on a real device. Now we are on a real device. This is how the login screen will look like. And after we enter a real phone number, when we click on send OTP, it will open a pop-up. We need to choose the browser where we need to verify that we are not a robot. And this thing can only be disabled during production. So currently, you don't need to worry about it. And then we need to wait until the OTP arrives. And now we need to enter the OTP. Click on submit. And this is how it will work in real device. So that's all for this video. I hope that you'll like it.